Okay, so when you get started to do a job like this, what you need to do is need to pull up the schematic manual. And you need to find the one for the soundboard. So in this case, here's the auto board for Bram Stoker's Dracula, and you need to determine where the 5-volt circuit is. In this particular case, it's for J502, these pins right here. J502, if we locate it, it's going to be right here. Now this is the old board, this is not the pin soundboard. So when you do this, you have to use whichever male spade male connectors that go directly to the board. So I want to say on the pin sound board it still is in the exact same location. So then you come over here and you see, okay, pin 2 has nothing. Pin 1 and pin 3 have 5 volts. Pins 4 and 5 have ground. So if we look here, we look on the screen, the far right is number 1. So number 1 and the middle one, number 3, are going to be 5 volts. Numbers 4 and 5 are going to be ground. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to crimp a trifurcon. I'm just going to call it the pin, because I don't know if I'm even saying that right. We're going to crimp the pin to the wire. This can be a little trying and difficult depending on what your dexterity is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my soldering station out here, and I am going to put a dab of solder where the exposed wiring is, and that dab of solder will hold it to the pin and allow me to use my crimper and just crimp. I basically don't need 3 hands. I'll have one hand holding the wire and the other hand holding the crimpers, and I can crimp down because the solder will hold the exposed wiring in place for me. Okay, so I apologize that I wasn't able to take the video as I did it, but what we did here is we used a set of helping hands, and we have the pin in the right helping hand and the wire in the left hand, and with those hands holding, I used solder and a soldering iron to flow the solder down to the exposed wiring, and now that solder, that shiny solder, is holding everything in place, and I can crimp down on it in one hit. Okay, so hopefully you can see it here on the camera. Oh, kind of gets a little rough there, but with the solder holding it in place, I was then able to use the crimpers and crimp those little wings down, and those I don't know what the technical terminology is, but the wings crimp down now onto the insulation, and that is a completely solid connection. That wire is not going anywhere with these crimped down onto the insulated portion of the wire, and the solder holding the exposed wire to the pin. This is a solid connection now.